In the documentary Ethnic Notations, there were various images discussed that were used to dehumanize and perpetuate systematic racism before and after slavery. One term discussed was mammy, and this would be a woman who would cause disruption in a house if she had sexual appeal to the master, and she was portrayed differently in her family as presented as a controller compared to the man's role. Another term mentioned was black menace, and the blacks were usually described as a brute, which was a violent, hypermasculine figure used to control and cause violence against African Americans. They also would call black men beasts during this time. Another image portrayed was Sambu, who was seen as carefree and childlike, who avoided responsibility. They were typically seen as unthreatening to whites and unintelligible and incapable of any serious work or thought. Another term mentioned in the documentary was coon, and these were seen in theatric shows where white men would dress up as African Americans and paint their face black and make their lips look bigger, and it would be used to dehumanize African Americans and make them seem unfit for independence and not capable for work, and it would be for comedic relief and to mock them. Similarly, another term seen in the documentary was pick nanny, and this was imaged to make black people look inhumane, and it was seen in cartoons and books that the figures would look like animals and their hair would be unkempt and they'd have exaggerated physical features, and it made them seem like death in their life was unimportant and a joke. These stereotypes shaped public perceptions of African Americans' roles and abilities, and it influenced how they were viewed in sports, and it is still seen today. The idea of African Americans being naturally athletic but intellectually inferior stems from these historical biases and is seen in our sports today. African Americans are often praised for their physical being, and yet they're still denied recognition for their intellect and their strategies. Media narratives today still emphasize the looks on black athletes, and they'll describe them as aggressive and intimidating, which links to the image of black menace and being called a brute. We still see it in the American society today, but it's in a more subtle way. The stereotypes have evolved but maintained in media and cultural narratives. African Americans are seen as criminals and aggressors in the news and entertainment. And in sports, they're often always celebrated for their physical ability rather than their intellect and their knowledge. In conclusion, this film highlighted how deeply rooted these stereotypes are in American culture and their lasting impact it had on race relations. It, in the end, encourages us all to critically think about how we perceive African Americans in our world, including sports.